Picture this. Your app just went viral. One tweet, one influencer, and suddenly millions of people are hitting your servers at the exact same second. And then, everything goes dark. The servers crash, users see errors, and all that attention you waited months for, gone in seconds. So here's the question we're answering today. How do some apps stay lightning fast during a huge launch, while others fall over instantly? The answer is something called rate limiting, and by the end of this video, you'll understand it completely. No prior knowledge needed. Let's begin. First, let's understand what actually breaks. On a normal day, requests come into your server like a calm queue at a railway ticket counter. One person, then the next, then the next. Your server handles them comfortably. But now, imagine the counter suddenly has 10,000 people pushing in at once. No line, no order, just a crowd, all shouting at the same time. The poor clerk freezes. Nobody gets served. Here's why a crowd actually takes a server down. Every request costs something. A slice of CPU, a bit of memory, one database connection. A server only has so many. Past its limit, requests pile into a queue that never drains. Everything slows to a crawl and then it tips over. Engineers have a name for this. They call it the thundering herd. A sudden stampede of requests that overwhelms the system all at once. Now you might be thinking, can't a firewall just block this? Just block the bad traffic and we're done, right? Here's the catch. This traffic isn't an attack. It's not hackers. It's real users, real customers who genuinely want to use your app. A firewall can't tell the difference between a viral moment and a malicious one. If it blocks everyone, you've basically shut your own shop. So what we need is not a wall. We need a floodgate, something that lets water through but controls how fast it flows. That floodgate is a rate limiter. And notice, the floodgate never slams shut on anyone. Real users still get through. It just stops any single person from flooding the system and ruining it for everyone else. Go over your share? You're simply asked to wait a moment and try again. That's fairness, not a ban. So, what exactly is rate limiting? In plain English, it's a rule that controls how many requests a single client can make in a given window of time. Think of it as traffic control for your API. And what are we limiting? All kinds of things. API requests, login attempts, OTP requests, payment requests. Basically anything you don't want a single user to spam. Now, where does this rate limiter actually sit? Picture the path of a request. It leaves the client, and before it ever reaches your backend, it passes through the rate limiter. It's a gatekeeper, standing guard in front of your expensive resources. Let's make it concrete. Say your API allows 100 requests per minute. Make your 101st request in that same minute, and the server stops you with a special reply. 429. Too many requests. Slow down and come back in a bit. So how do we actually build this gatekeeper? There are 4 classic algorithms. 2 simple counters first, fixed window and sliding window. And then our 2 clever buckets. Let's take them one by one. Let's start with the simplest one of all. The fixed window. It chops time into fixed blocks, say 1 minute each. It counts requests in the current block, and the instant the minute ticks over, the counter resets to 0. Picture a guard at a gate with a clicker. He counts everyone walking in this minute. When the minute ends, he resets the clicker to 0 and starts fresh. Simple, cheap, just one number to remember. But here's the crack in it. Say the limit is 100 a minute. A clever user fires 100 requests in the last second of 1 minute, then 100 more in the first second of the next. The counter reset in between, so both batches sail through. That's 200 requests in about 2 seconds. Simple, but it can be fooled right at the edges. So we patch that crack with the sliding window. Instead of resetting on fixed boundaries, it always looks back over the last 60 seconds from right now. Imagine a window that slides along with you, always covering exactly the last minute, never a hard reset. There's no boundary left to exploit. So the traffic stays smooth and the limit is far more accurate. But accuracy isn't free. Now the system has to remember when each request arrived and keep recounting as the window slides. More bookkeeping, more memory. Smoother but heavier. Now, both of those windows just count requests. But what if you actually want to allow short bursts? Meet our first bucket, the token bucket.
Imagine you walk into an arcade. To play any game, you need a token. There's a bucket next to you, and a machine slowly drops new tokens into it. Say, 1 token every second. Every time you want to make a request to play a game, you pick up 1 token from the bucket and spend it. No token in the bucket. You wait. But here's the beautiful part. If you walk away for a while and let tokens collect, the bucket fills up. So when you come back, you can play many games very fast, in a sudden burst. Because you've saved up tokens. That's the magic of the token bucket. It allows bursts. A user who's been quiet can suddenly do a lot at once. But over the long run, the average stays controlled because tokens only refill at a fixed rate. Now let's connect the arcade back to your real API. The refill rate, 1 token a second, that is your rate limit. The size of the bucket, that's how big a burst you allow. A full bucket lets a quiet user fire off a quick burst. An empty bucket means they wait for the next token. Same machine, real numbers. This is exactly why your app can load a whole screen of data instantly when you open it, but still can't be spammed forever. Fast when you need it, limited over time. So let's reason about its cost for a moment. How much does the system have to remember? Just 2 things. How many tokens are in the bucket right now? And when we last refilled it. That's it. 2 numbers per user. So the memory stays small and constant no matter how many requests come in. Light, simple, and burst-friendly. Now, the token bucket loves bursts. But sometimes, a burst is exactly what you don't want. Imagine your backend database is delicate. It can only handle a smooth, steady flow of work. If you suddenly dump 1,000 requests on it, it panics. For this, we have a second bucket, the leaky bucket. Picture a real bucket, but this one has a small hole at the bottom. You can pour water in as fast or as messy as you like, in splashes, in floods, all uneven. But the water leaks out of that hole at one constant, steady drip. So no matter how chaotic the incoming traffic is, what comes out the other side is perfectly smooth and even, predictable, disciplined. In real terms, the steady drip is the rate your system actually processes work. The bucket is a short queue that absorbs small bumps. And when that queue is full, extra requests get that same polite, too many requests. A rejection, never a crash. And what if water comes in faster than the hole can drain it? The bucket fills up and any extra just spills over and is thrown away. This is what engineers call traffic shaping, forcing a calm, steady output no matter how rough the input. So now you're holding a complete toolbox. 4 algorithms, 4 personalities. Fixed window. The simplest of all, just 1 counter per block. Blazing cheap, but it can leak at the edges. Reach for it when rough limits are good enough. Sliding window. The most accurate, no boundary tricks, beautifully smooth. But it costs you more memory and bookkeeping. Reach for it when fairness and precision really matter. Token bucket. The burst-friendly one.
It lets quiet users spike fast, while the average stays in check. Reach for it when you want a snappy, responsive feel. Leaky Bucket, the stability one. It shapes chaotic traffic into a calm, steady stream. Reach for it when something fragile downstream needs protecting. Simplicity, accuracy, bursts, or smoothness. There is no single best, only the best for your situation. Now, in the real world of 2026, things get trickier. Modern apps don't run on one server. They run on dozens of servers spread across the whole planet. One in Mumbai, one in London, one in California. We call these edge nodes. Here's the problem. Imagine your rate limiter lives on each server separately. A single user's requests bounce between Mumbai and London. Each server only counts what it sees locally. So the user quietly gets double the limit, sometimes much more. Because no single server has the full picture. So how do we fix it? We need one shared scoreboard that every server checks. A common answer is a fast, central memory store. Many engineers use something called Redis for this. Every server, before allowing a request, asks this one central place. How many requests has this user made globally? But, and there's always a but in system design. Now every request has to make an extra trip to that central store. That adds a tiny delay. And if that central store goes down, you've got a single point of failure. The alternative? Keep counters local to each server. Super fast, no extra trips, but less accurate as we just saw.
So once again, a trade-off. Perfect accuracy with the central store versus blazing speed with local counters. Real engineering is choosing which pain you can live with. Okay, so where do we actually deploy this rate limiter? The most common home is the API gateway. Think of it as one security guard at the building's main entrance. Every single request enters through here first. So it's the perfect place to enforce limits for your whole system. In one spot with one set of rules. But some rooms hold the crown jewels. Your payment service, your login service. Even with a guard at the front, these critical services add their own throttle on top. So they stay protected even if something slips past the gateway. Engineers call this defense in depth. And this isn't just theory. GitHub, Stripe, Discord, every big platform runs limits at the gateway and inside its critical services. Go over and you get that same too many requests. Now let's make you interview ready. Here's a question you will actually hear. Design a rate limiter that allows 100 requests per minute, supports bursts, and serves millions of users. Watch how a systems engineer thinks. Supports bursts. That word points straight at the token bucket. Millions of users across many servers? Local counters will break, so you reach for a shared store like Redis. And you enforce it at the API gateway, so every service is covered at once. Notice what just happened. You didn't memorize an answer. You reasoned your way to it using the tools you now own. That, right there, is exactly what interviewers want to see. So, let's lock the whole journey in. 1. Rate limiting controls how many requests a client can make, a gatekeeper for your API. 2. Systems need it so a sudden flood can't take them down. 3. Cross the limit and you get a 429 too many requests. 4. Fixed window counts in blocks but leaks at the edges. 5. Sliding window slides with you for accuracy at a higher cost. 6. Token bucket allows bursts and keeps things fast. 7. Leaky bucket smooths everything into a steady shape stream. 8. Across many servers, keeping one shared count is the hard part, always a trade-off between speed and accuracy. And 9. In production, the limiter usually lives right at the API gateway. Thanks for watching. If this helped,
subscribe for more. See you in the next one.